Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. He's back. Víkingur, Mr. Hans Ólafsson. Yes, here he is, doing Philip Glass piano works. These have become very popular lately, and rightly so. I mean, the piano works are largely etudes. There are 20 of them, I believe, so far. Really beautiful. I like Philip Glass generally, and I like his piano music. He seems to engender a great deal of controversy. There are some people who think that he simply is a poseur, I think is the word, sort of a fake, because his music is based on, he was one of the, iconic founders of minimalism, and it's very repetitious and based often on simple harmonic progressions. But, it still gets the job done. It really doesn't. It's often extremely beautiful and affecting. And that's true of these etudes, particularly. I will say that. Who was it? Poulenc, who said that there must always be room for really good music based on someone else's harmonies or something like that. What matters is not originality per se. What matters is what you do with the materials that you have. And Glass knows who he is, and he knows how to write effectively in his own style, and I respect that entirely. This particular disc, like I said, there they are. Mr. Ólafsson. I thought because this was like a slippy paper tiny thing, there wouldn't be room for too many hand shots. And in fact, there aren't many of them. But, sure enough, you open the booklet and ta-da! There's another one. Oh, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Yes, that's his thing. Anyway, he's really a very, very fine pianist and a thoughtful one, too. It's just that sometimes he thinks too much, or he thinks about himself too much. I don't know. Anyway, he wrote a very affecting note for this release, where he describes his own experience playing the complete etudes with Philip Glass, actually, in attendance or hanging out, so they know each other, which is lovely. What puzzles me about this, there are a couple puzzling things, because it's a splendid, splendid disc. Trust me, it really is. The thing is, you get the opening bit of Glassworks, that album of Philip Glass compositions, and then you have the opening of Glassworks reworked by Christian Badzura. I don't think there's any remark about this. I didn't see anything about who this guy is and what he's doing, reworking anything, or why anything needed to be reworked. But Ólafsson is joined with the Sigi String Quartet in a couple of these numbers. The Etude number 2 was also reworked by Christian Badzura, so to add a string quartet. And quite frankly, the originals are infinitely superior, in my humble opinion. None of this needed to be reworked or diddled. It's a gimmick. I don't know what that's for. But otherwise, what Ólafsson has done is take a selection of these things, etudes numbers 9, 2, 6, 5, 14, 2 again in the reworked version, which actually kind of makes sense because it's in the middle, so you get some textural variety. 13, 15, 3, 18, and of course 20, which is like 11 minutes long, and it's a big, wonderful, marvelous, extraordinary thing. It's really, really cool. Anyway, so it's a lovely selection, almost 80 minutes worth of music on the disc. And what puzzles me about this is that it was actually recorded in 2016. It's just being released now. Why is that? Isn't that strange? Don't you find that curious? I can't explain it. It's almost, 9 years later? Anyway. But the playing is very, very beautiful. I think people who think that the music is inexpressive or somehow devoid of substantive, material or emotional interest should hear this, because there are countless felicities of touch and texture and just really, really sensitive playing that I think draws you into each of these pieces. Whether, you can handle, all the repetition and whatnot, it doesn't bother me at all, because I really find quite a bit of variety in these pieces from one to the next and whatnot. But that's up to you. In the meantime, it's a really, really, really lovely disc. And, Ólafsson has done some really wonderful things and some incredibly strange things. But this is one of his better discs. And I really think if you don't know the Philip Glass Etudes, this is a wonderful selection. It really is. It's a beautifully chosen. They're well programmed to create the maximum amount of variety. There's tremendous sensitivity in the approach to the works. No, I mean, there's plenty of bravura, virtuosity. Number 13 is very virtuosic. Number 20 is incredibly sensitive, and you'll hear a serious composer with real ideas, I think, in this music, if you give it the time and attention that it deserves. So good job. Really. There we go. Yeah, let's do it this way. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.